So after that is Jagdish ji and Shanta ji.
Namaskar ji.
Namaste.
Wonderful talk. Namaste Swamiji. It was a wonderful talk.
Thank you.
But hard to forget the pain somebody caused you. It is really hard. We want to forget, but it comes back again. Why it happens to me only? To everybody it happens.
When that happens, then we have to discriminate. No, we have to discriminate and put our mind to someone else. If we keep on thinking about that, that will never go away. That will never go away. So the thing is to give our mind to something higher. What has happened has happened. You cannot undo that. So if that person, if you can stay away from that person, just stay away. Don't think about that. Think about God and not all those things. Everyone has to suffer in the world. Even Holy Mother was given so much trouble by so many people. So we are just ordinary persons. They came for others and they had to suffer. We are suffering from our own karma. So we can't blame anybody else really. But still it is painful, so we should try to get over that. Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji. It was a beautiful talk, really.
Thank you. Deepu ji.
Thank you, Maharaj ji, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
And it's amazing how through all these thousands of years, we are still struggling with the same issues. Huh?
That is
we talk of reincarnation and hope next birth will be better than this birth. But who knows? We are in the same pool and the same problems.
Yeah, same problem because these are eternal. You see, they are a part of human nature. So till we can transcend our human nature by hard practice, these will continue to, make our lives miserable. So we have to get over it, and it won't be automatic. We have to struggle hard for that. Consciously divert our minds from lower things to higher things. That should be consciously done and regularly done. Yeah. Thank you, Aishwari. Namaste. Yeah.
It was a very eye-opening talk. My question is about evil tendencies. What is the source of evil tendencies in human? Is it ignorance alone?
Ignorance leads to desire. Desire leads to good and bad karma. So our bad karma leads to bad tendencies. So if we want to reduce our bad tendencies, we have to give up bad karma, physical, mental, everything. Even mental karma is karma. So when we try to give these up slowly, these tendencies also recede. They go away, they become less and less.
Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Yeah. Thank you.
Or I'm saying it, when a person is angry, he loses his rationality, and he loses reasoning power.
That is why we should not get angry. That is the reason we should not get angry. Because when we get angry, we lose all sense of proportion. We do absolutely foolish things and we have to suffer in the end. So many cases we are seeing in the newspaper every day. Out of anger, some people is stabbing somebody, causing harm, and they have to spend their lives in jail. So anger is a terrible sin. That is why it is said. We have to, because what you say is true, and because it is true, we should not get angry. That is the thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pranbhai ji. Pranbhai ji.
Namaskar, Swami.
Yeah, namaste. Yeah.
Wonderful talk and wonderful song.
Thank you.
And but I have a question.
Sure.
Which, you could comment.
Sure.
And this story was very good as far as the good advice as given, but Shukracharya got angry and cursed. Devyani took revenge, and also then Shukracharya's attachment to Devyani, I'm struggling through that how it is of his status and attachment.
See, these are stories. These are stories to convey truths. We don't want to go into research on the Shukracharya's character or something. Yeah, our aim is to benefit from this story. The what do you call moral of the story? So if we begin to treat it as real and begin to think why Shukracharya did this or did that or why Devyani, then we'll be losing the goal. These are stories made up. So if everybody was good, then there would be no story and there would be no moral. If Devyani and Sharmishta had not fought at all, there would have been no story at all. So what could we learn from that? So we have to look.
That's true. That's why the story was good.
Yeah.
But then the characters themselves were behaving like.
They are not perfect. They are not perfect.
Okay.
But they are who we never. If everybody becomes perfect, then there would be no story at all. If there is no bad person, how can there be in any movie? We have seen many movies in our young days. In every movie there is a villain. There is a bad character, more or less generally, or some other films, art films, etc. That is different. But other movies, when they teach that good conquers evil, so they have to show evil. Otherwise, how will they show that good conquers evil? So we have to take the moral of the story. If everybody was perfect, then there would be no story at all.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Purvidiya Nanadi Babu.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
Avinash,
Yeah.
brilliant storytelling and beautiful pictures. I don't know where you get those. And lovely singing, Rabindra Sangeet, altogether wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
I that all the teachings that are really important at least at this stage for us.
Yeah.
I just remembered the story, like just a story. Now I see that there were so many important teachings along with the story.
Yeah.
So that is wonderful. Yeah, that is so true. And
Yeah.
thank you for at the end of the story, you kind of again illustrated the teachings. That was very helpful. Thank you, Maharaj. And the song is, of course, beautiful.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
these verses are from the original Mahabharata. So till you read the original Mahabharata, naturally we don't come across that, because people just when they tell a story, they just tell the story and leave all that essential teachings. So only when we read the original Mahabharata, then we can get these. Yeah.
Thank you, Pranam Maharaj.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, we have also missed your holy company for many weeks. Yeah.
We actually were watching you down in Mexico.
Yeah, once I saw, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't miss too much. I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was on a smaller screen, so
Yeah.
that may have shrunk the message a little bit. Anyway, it's good to be back. I have one just sort of foolish historical question, and that is, in the context of these stories, what exactly does it mean, if anything, that these characters are being called demons or asuras? Is that a factor in the story in any way?
Factor, yes. Demons, asura. The sura means God, and asura is the opposite of God. So it means people with demonical attributes. We have already discussed the divine attributes in the Gita. There is also demonical attributes in the 16th chapter. So these characters are all for our benefit. So when somebody is called a demon or asura, it is described how they act. In the Mahabharata, it is described how they act. So we should know that if we are acting in a similar way, we are also demons. It is just a way of teaching us that this is how demons act, this is how gods act. So it is a wonderful study of character, human character in all its aspects, Mahabharata, so that we can learn about them and we can benefit from those teachings in our life.
The cynical side of me thinks that the asuras were simply the guy. Is there an element of that in there too?
No, we got cut off. I could not understand. Could you please repeat?
Yeah, the cynical side of my personality thinks that there's also a factor of just the other. These are the other guys who live over the mountain and they're not part of our tribe, and therefore they are categorically inferior to us. Is there not an element of that in those stories as well?
Well, personally, I don't think so, because if this was the case, if we could not relate to them by any means, then there would be no point in depicting those characters at all. So one aspect can be, see, we live in the world. We have to deal with so many persons in the world, all types of persons, especially you as a judge. You know, so many people have stood before you in court. So when we know human character better, we can deal with these people better. This is another aspect. So if we study in that way, I think it makes more sense.
But they're not a separate race exactly.
No, not at all, not at all. This just reflects. This is not at all in that sense. At least I don't think so, that there is a separate race. It just shows higher human character and lower character. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right to me. Thank you.
Yeah, because many persons we find in the world who are just like these demons to some extent. Next is Mr. Oki.
Yes, thank you very much for the story.
Thank you.
I have a question about surrender.
Yeah.
For surrender, I need foundational base for surrender, which I think knowledge. I would better to wait until enough knowledge accumulation. When is the best timing for surrender?
There is no such timing. When is the best time to think of God? If I ask you, when is the best time to do good things? If I ask you, what will you say?
So right now.
Right now and all the time. So yeah, so there is no time that you can surrender from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. or you can surrender when this and this happens in your life. It is not like that. It is an attitude. Surrendering means what? Means relying on God. When you rely on somebody, you surrender to him. So that has to be practiced at all times, you see. When
I don't need to accumulate the knowledge first.
Everything has to go together. When small children are there in a class, very small children, kids, and they have a teacher, they have a senior teacher. So the teacher is teaching them, they are getting knowledge, but they are small kids. So if they need anything, where will they go? They will ask the teacher. They rely on the teacher till the class is there. If they feel hungry, they will tell the teacher. If they want to go out for some reason, they will tell the teacher. They have completely taken refuge in the teacher who is older to them, who is wiser to them. And the teacher is also teaching them. They also are gaining knowledge. So everything is happening together. Like this, we also have to get the knowledge from scriptures, from God. At the same time, in our lives, we also have to rely on God for everything. Both has to go together.
Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Last but not the least, Yogi ji.
Rama,
Yeah, namaste.
it's amazing the sort of the number of gems of wisdom packed in one story.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have
And
taken
there are
the
so many.
you have taken the
So
words
many
out
of
from my
these.
mouth. Absolutely. There are so many. It is an infinite mine. Our scriptures are infinite. I mean, yeah. Actually, in this context, I want to tell you one thing. Like when I had come to Canada, so in Canada, of course, in foreign countries, there is only preaching work is there. So I was thinking that these swamis in America and Canada, how do they manage? I mean, day after day, year after year, they have to talk on spiritual topics. How is it possible? So now I'm seeing that I have spent more than 1 year. So I see that I have not even started yet. we have not even started yet. And 1 year has gone. So now actually I am becoming aware when I see it's so wonderful. So many are there. Our Bhagavata itself, if you study, if you study really thoroughly, it may take years. And Mahabharata, we are just going over the surface. If you really go deep into the Sanskrit, it is so wonderful. So it is what you have said is absolutely true.
The original Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very big.
Very big.
What I have studied is the one written by Kamala Subramaniam from the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan.
Yeah.
That's quite elaborate, but I think there's much more in it than.
Much more in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaste.
Very good.
Yeah.
Lot to learn, lots to do.
Yeah.
Practice, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Beautiful song is a sweet prasad. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this was a holiday class. Let me remind you, holidays are over. So next time, hard study of Sankhya philosophy. Yeah, but you have studied now so many philosophies, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, etc. So you are all philosophers. So there is no problem now. We shall try to make it as simple as possible. So let us start Sankhya from next time, and so that we can understand the Gita better. Yeah, it is a fascinating, and the advantage is that Sankhya is very, very close to Vedanta, very, very close. Only in some aspects it is different. So we can, I hope you will like that. Okay, so please keep safe and please keep well, and see you next week hopefully.
Can I ask a question,
Yeah,
Maharaj ji?
yeah, of course.
I was thinking as listening to this talk that there are people with certain minds who would look at it completely differently. Some people would be drawn into the drama and the excitement, and some people would say, well, the people who behave badly lived such a long life and enjoyed for many years before karma caught up. So I'm going to do just that. So, sometimes I feel studying Vedanta or the teachings of Christ or yoga, those are straightforward pathways without so much of the good and bad, because there are people in the world who are normally attracted towards excitement and negative things.
Yeah, you are correct. So we take what we are fit for.
Yes.
All these stories, if 10 persons with 10 different sanskaras they read, they will assimilate only what they are fit for. This point has been illustrated beautifully in the Upanishads. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is a wonderful story which beautifully explains this. So when we read it, we will have a better idea of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.